Crashes East Bank, 24 eastbound near James Robertson Parkway. Then over by the airport, 40 eastbound at Briley Parkway, exit 215. 65 northbound near Trinity Lane. That's going to be north of downtown. And we've got traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
until his inauguration, Donald Trump's construction of his transition team is in full swing, including assembling members of his cabinet and developing a plan for policy when he retakes office. A latest poll from CBS News YouGov found that 59% approve of how Trump has handled the presidential transition. Only 41% disapprove. This is especially notable, as in November of 2016, Trump's transition had only a 1-point approval rating, just up by 1. Now it stands at plus 18. This according to Real Clear polling. Let's see, I saw a story about that said that the Gallup organization likes the people that they surveyed also found that people very much impressed with what's happening in this transition. Some of the things that will happen right away is that the Trump team will look at apparently a quick rollback of Joe Biden's constitutionally inappropriate and perhaps illegal student debt relief plan. Addressing his signature student loan repayment plan known as the SAVE plan, it could be a problem, but the president, that the president finalized last year, it caps monthly payments at 5% of income for undergraduate borrowers, offers more generous interest subsidies, and allows loan forgiveness for in as few as 10 years of repayment for some borrowers. But Trump wants to try to roll that back. They've been looking at ways to rescind the SAVE plan while also figuring out how to replace it with other repayment options for borrowers, according to the same people familiar with the discussions. Is it going to make a few people mad? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the whole concept of paying off somebody's student loans, one of the things that just got me is I saw a statistic a while back that said that a good number of people who are given this student loan forgiveness are people who make $300,000 a year. Because they got a good college education, they got out there in the work world, and they got a good job, and they are absolutely capable of paying back these loans. Remember, they are loans. And if you went to college, I think you're smart enough to know what the word loan means. It means we give you money, and you agree to pay it back with interest. That's the way it works. But Trump wants to try to take that on right away. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah, the Democrats. They are just losing their mind over everything that is happening. And there's a great deal of bitterness, but there is no man on the planet perhaps more bitter than James Carville, who looks at the what he considers to be a poorly run campaign by Kamala Harris. And he's just fit to be tied, especially when it comes to this thing. He said, one of the things that helped Trump immensely, I mean, you look back at it, it's probably true, is that he went on Joe Rogan. He sat there for 3 hours. That podcast got listened to by more than 100 million people. That's amazing. Amazing. And Kamala Harris, apparently decided that she didn't want to go on Joe Rogan. Simply because apparently there were some staffers who thought, well, if you do that, I'm going to get my nose all out of joint. They apparently vehemently, vehemently objected to the idea of even going on Joe Rogan, which I think, looking back on it, was a huge mistake. Carville is fit to be tied about this.
Vice President was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. Supposedly the campaign said that wasn't the term de facto, but they did. When you put a campaign together and you hire young people to do work, let me tell you exactly what you tell these people, what I would tell them. Not only am I not interested in your f***ing opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a shit what you think. And let me tell you another huge error to make, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't. Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not.
Oh, man.
Oh, don't hold back, James. Tell us what you really think.
It's that Louisiana accent, too,
I
man.
I know. Oh, my Lord of mercy. He's absolutely apoplectic about all of this. And you know what? Here's where it is for Joe Biden. An Emerson College survey released Tuesday morning shows just a third of America, 36%, approve of Joe Biden, while 52% disapprove. The poll analysis called Biden's rating a 4-year low for the president in Emerson polls. President-elect Donald Trump, meanwhile, is returning to the White House with one of the highest approval ratings ever, 54%. That is 6 points higher than his pre-election approval. He's gone up since the election, showing strongly that America likes what they've seen out of Mar-a-Lago so far. And it's not just MAGA. Approval of Trump is spread across a wide spectrum of the country, just like his election support. Trump's favorability varies significantly by gender, race, and age, said Spencer Kimball, who did the poll. Trump's strongest age cohort is among voters 40 to 59, with 60% viewing him favorably, compared with 48% among those over 70. Notably, his favorability has risen among younger voters, with 55% of those under 30 expressing a favorable opinion. He also said that 48% of women, 53% of Hispanics, and 28% of black voters have approve of what Trump is doing. The Gallup Presidential Job Approval Center, which tracks approval ratings of every president back to Harry S. Truman, said Trump never received an approval rating higher than 49% when he was president. He also said that Biden entered office with a 56% approval rating. So, I mean, how the Biden administration has fallen in all of this. I mean, look, here's the thing. I think people, maybe you voted for Trump, maybe you didn't vote for Trump. I don't know. But I think what a lot of Americans come to agreement on is that they understand that government is broken, and that the status quo is something that really, why would we keep doing the same thing that we've been doing? Because it's not working. Government is not working for a lot of people. And even if you didn't vote for Trump because maybe, you don't like him, or, orange man bad, whatever it is, you realize that government needs to be revamped. And everything that has come out of Mar-a-Lago so far indicates that there's going to be a complete revamping of government, and that we're going to try some different things. Will some of them succeed? Yes. Will some of them fail? Maybe. I don't know. But one way or the other, we're going to try some different stuff. And that is what Americans like right now. That's, I think, what they like out of seeing in this transition time with Mar-a-Lago. The announcements coming out almost each and every day. Again, Biden is way, way down on his way out the door here in a few days. And Trump right now is doing better with public opinion than he was on election day. So there is that. And I think that is really good news as he gets ready to take over the reins of government on January 20th. 20 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Got big news from DT McCall. If you've been thinking about buying a gun safe but putting it off, now is the time to take action. Gun safes are sales tax free. That's right. You get them. You don't pay a penny of sales tax. It's hunting season, so be sure you're keeping your gun safe when you're not in the tree stand with a Liberty gun safe from DT McCall's. Now, they're the largest Liberty safe dealer in all of Tennessee. It has to do with the policy on delivery and setup. See, some charge $500 at least for delivery and setup of the big models and $300 for the smaller models. But DT McCall and Son delivers every safe free every time period, never a setup charge. Security is important these days, and a Liberty gun safe from DT McCall can be used for valuables, cash, jewelry, important documents, wills, deeds, car titles, whatever you need to keep safe from theft or fire. So save some big bucks now on your Liberty gun safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. Go to dtmccalls.com for locations and information.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Ceasefire imminent in the Middle East. Hear what the president-elect's border czar said in Texas today. Beefed up holiday patrols in Nashville and a golf club murder in Florida. And I'm not talking about the place you go to get a drink. That's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That would be Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and there in the control room pushing the blinky buttons is Chris Weber. You guys, doing all right today? Everything good?
Yeah, doing real good.
You know, the weather was really not too bad. I mean, it gets cool in the overnights, but I mean, 53 this time of year, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I'm still in my short pants, boys.
Well, are you really?
Yes, sir.
Wow, there
I
you
see
go.
you got the jacket on, though.
Well, yeah.
top half warm, bottom half keep it aired out?
Well, this was actually in my back seat. I had left this morning without putting a shirt on first.
Oh, really? Well, so you just walked out to your car half naked. Okay,
Didn't have time to turn around.
So you just went ahead and grabbed something
did.
out of the back seat.
I did.
No, I'm not buying that story.
I believe it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again for this amazing outpouring of generosity from our audience with the Radiothon yesterday.
Awesome.
I mean, I think our past record was something like 252, something like 250, something like that. We shattered it. We went all the way up to $288,000, and we'll be able to provide at the Nashville Rescue Mission some 101,204 meals, thanks to your largesse, your generosity. I mean, I am constantly astonished at just how amazing our audience is. I mean, I've worked in a lot of places, and you always say, well, we really appreciate our listeners. I mean, you guys are amazing. They truly are really amazing to raise that kind of money for such a good cause. And, in a minute, I'm going to be going through some of the things that people are having to pay now just to put, a Thanksgiving dinner together and how much it has gone up. It's gone up for them, too, down at the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Good point, yeah.
The cost of what they do. So, I mean, they're getting this much money, it helps them, continue to provide quality services to people. And I mean, I'm just touched beyond belief that you were able to do that. And it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to them. And thank you. And for those people who said, we want to honor you, Brian, and make a donation in your name, thanks for the 6 years that you've been here, but, for your 50 years in broadcasting, it's just like, I can't believe that people are that nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
nice.
It really is an amazing thing, and it was it's my favorite day of the year. I mean, I really like doing that, and I love sort of the change of pace, and it's not too much to say. I mean, everything that's going on in the world. I mean, trust me, if there had been really huge news, we'd have been back to it. That's part of the deal. But to set aside today and say, okay, short of something catastrophic happening, we're going to be doing this today, and taking a day out of our regular broadcasting sort of mode of operation is something that I really look forward to every year. And you have never disappointed me at all. And I want to say, from me personally, thank you so much for doing all of that. It was good, and it's also good because we don't get the four guys together in the room very often.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. So anyway, that was an amazing day, and just beyond belief. And coming up as we go a little further into this show, I want to talk about the Pete Hegseth case. And there's some new reporting out on that I think is very interesting. Economic news we got going on here, and then there are so many companies now that are walking away from this thing called DEI. I mean, we got another big one. And Robbie Starbuck is the guy who's been doing it. So, let me say, kudos to him, but we'll tell you all about that coming up before we get out of here today. Settle back. We got a real good show for you. It's right now, though, it's time for the news at 3:30.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Ceasefire imminent in the Middle East. President Biden from the Rose Garden says he's spoken to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Hezbollah leader in Lebanon, and both sides have agreed to terms.
Let's be clear. Israel did not launch this war. The Lebanese people did not seek that war either, nor did the United States.
Biden went on to say,
and so now Hamas has a choice to make. Their only way out is to release the hostages, including American citizens, which they hold.
President-elect Trump's pick for border czar visited Eagle Pass, Texas today to thank those stationed along the border.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan was joined by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to serve turkey to National Guard members stationed along the border as part of Operation Lone Star. Homan told the National Guard members that planning is underway for heightened enforcement along the border after President-elect Trump is sworn in, and said,
"There is going to be a mass deportation, because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border."
To those who push back against the effort, he said the U.S. is a nation of laws and that laws will be enforced. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say you can expect to see beefed-up patrols for the holiday shopping season. Cops on the ground and in the air near major shopping hubs, including Opry Mills, Tanger Outlets, and Green Hills. They say they'll have cops on horseback at Opry Mills. They'll be on bikes at Tanger. And in the air, cops in helicopters will be watching for suspicious activity, and they'll radio below if they see some. This enhanced visibility starts on Friday. Police in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, charging a man with murder after they say he attacked a golfer with his own golf clubs. The suspect is 36-year-old Junior Boucher.
This appears to be a random act of violence where Boucher used the victim's golf clubs as weapons and viciously attacked the victim, ultimately killing him.
Boucher appeared before a judge today. Police say the two men fought on the course. Both fell to the ground, and a witness says one hit the other in the head with a golf club. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, we're dealing with two crashes on I-24. First, the East Loop near the James Robertson Parkway going eastbound. The other one's going to be eastbound right before 40. That'll be exit 52. Then over near the airport, we've got 40 westbound. The off-ramp to Briley Parkway is partially blocked by a crash there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
It is 37 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. We're getting all kinds of news to you here today. I think when the history of this last election is written, one of the things that historians will look at is how much the border policies of the Biden administration backfired on them. I think they thought, we're going to open up the borders and we're going to bring people in. We're going to try to change, the demographics of this country, kind of try to find them a pathway to citizenship. None of that ever came to being. I mean, the first part did. They got into the country, but now I think there was such a sort of backlash from those policies. I mean, think about it. The Democrats, they lost a lot of Hispanic voters who did not agree with what was happening. I don't think they calculated that was going to happen. And there certainly were a great number of people in America who looked at that and said, this is wrong. And then we started to see crime tick up in some of our major cities. And we started to see the fentanyl coming across that was killing off people in our neighborhoods. And this, that, and the other. And then the national security. Well, I've been talking about this for some time now. But what I love is the man that Donald Trump has chosen to take on this issue, our border czar, Tom Homan. The mayor of Denver said the other day that, he's ready to challenge them. It's going to be a sanctuary city. And he said, if he wants to put me in jail, I'm willing to go to jail. Tom Homan said, okay, I'll put you there. No if buts or ands about it. I'm gonna put you there if you continue to stand in the way of our efforts to clean up this mess that's left here by the Biden administration. Today, he was at the border of Texas, meeting with Texas Department of Public Safety officials and thanking the men and women of Texas who've been out there doing a good job. In Texas, they did have a real impact on the number of people coming across the border illegally, so much so that it all flexed to other states like New Mexico, Arizona, and California. And so he was saying thank you, but boy, was he wound up. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you 4 minutes of a man champing at the bit to get started. Listen to what Tom Homan had to say today.
So the first morning I woke up with a smile on my face was the day after the election when President Trump won. Because he's going to come back, he's going to finish the job he started. Governor Abbott has done an amazing job. Illegal immigration in Texas is down 86%. 86%. Think about that. This is a model we can take across the country. We're going to help Governor Abbott finish the job he started, but this is a model we can take across the country. Unprecedented success in Texas. It's a shame the taxpayers of Texas have to spend billions of dollars to do the job that this administration failed to do, didn't want to do. It's just not about illegal immigration anymore. When this administration calls the crisis the biggest they caused, it overwhelms the Border Patrol. And because the Border Patrol is so overwhelmed taking care of this humanitarian crisis, many of them are pulled off the line. And what happens then? 600% increase in sex trafficking. Fentanyl coming across the border to kill 250,000 Americans. Record number of people on terrorist watch list crossing the border. Over 2 million known gotaways. How many of them come from a country sponsoring terror? How many of them are carrying fentanyl? How many of them are sex trafficking women and children? How many of them are gang members? So it's more than just illegal immigration. I don't care what your opinion is on illegal immigration. When you cause a crisis this big, all these terrible things happen. Cartels are making more money today than ever did. They're making a record amount of money smuggling aliens, record amount of money trafficking in women and children, and a record amount of money moving the dope. For every ounce of fentanyl your trooper sees are less overdose deaths. For every person you arrest for trespassing and put them through a fingerprinting process, that's one less gotaway. At least we know who these people are. What you've done is not only protect the state of Texas and the citizens of Texas, you are protecting this nation. It's a shame we have other governors and other mayors who are right out of the gate. I said they're going to push back on President Trump and what we're trying to do, especially for interior enforcement. Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border where anybody can look at 9 out of 10 people claim asylum at the border will end up with an order removal. So you can't ask for the right to claim asylum, the right to see a judge, the right to due process, and we give you that due process, and at the end of that due process, a federal judge orders you removed, we have to remove them. Because if we don't, shut down the immigration court. Those orders don't mean anything anymore. Take you guys off the border because there's no consequences. So you can't demand due process and the right to claim asylum and not obey the court order. That is why there needs to be a mass deportation. We have a mass number of people, millions of people who will get a final order and be order removed. If we don't do it, what is the option? Let them stay? Because if you let them stay, you'll never fix the border. There'll be companies, you're going to send a message to the rest of the world. Enter the country legally, which is a crime. That we're a nation of laws. And we're going to enforce the laws. The men and women of ICE, they're going to have a tough job ahead of them. And I'm sending a message for people that said they're going to get in our way. They're going to stop us from doing what we're doing on an interior enforcement operation. I've said it 100 times in the last week. Don't cross that line. It is a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us. The nation wants a safe country. We've had enough crime in this country of illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it. President Trump's committed to it. He's committed to securing this border. He's committed to having this mass deportation operation and concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. For any mayor or governor who's going to push back on removing public safety threats from your community, that is your number one responsibility. You ought to be teaming up with us. We have created the biggest national security vulnerability in this nation on the southern border. Because like I said, 2 million known gotaways, we don't know how many unknown gotaways, already record number of people on the terrorist watch list. If you don't think a single one of the 2 million came from a country sponsoring terror and didn't come to do us harm, then you're an idiot. Everybody ought to be on the same page. Republican, Democrat, Independent. This is a huge national security vulnerability, and everybody ought to be concerned with it. Game on. Time to get this done. Game on.
Well, it is time to get him. We got to wait till January 20th, but he is ready to go. And it will be day one, game on. I promise you, this guy, if he could start right now, he would. It's got to be, I just love the passion of the guy, but everything that he says is absolutely correct. And I think it was the thing that caused Democrats to lose so badly across this country. As for this mayor in Denver, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky had something to say about that this weekend.
That the mayor of Denver, if he's going to resist federal law, which there's a long-standing history of the supremacy of federal law, if he's going to resist that, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I would suspect that he would be removed from office. I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection, where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history, and really, I think will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law.
Yeah, I can't believe that the people of Denver support the mayor in that position. I just can't believe that they do. And this is going to be an interesting test. But Rand Paul is correct. If you knowingly violate federal law, it is an act of insurrection. And so we'll see how it all plays out. But, what I heard Tom Homan say is the mayor says he's willing to go to jail over the issue. Well, that's fine. We'll take care of that. We'll be glad to oblige him. No problem whatsoever. From the Daily Signal, crime rate for illegal aliens vastly understated, according to data. I want to get to some of the meat of this story. Let's see. They're talking about how it should never have been allowed to happen. The gaps have led to broad claims that illegal immigrants have less involvement with the criminal justice system than native-born Americans. A review of the available data, however, shows that the criminal records of millions of migrants, the ones President-elect Donald Trump vows to prioritize for deportation, remain unknown due to illegal crossings, tax enforcement, and lax enforcement and lax data collection by federal and sanctuary jurisdictions. In other words, the federal government turned a blind eye to a lot of this stuff. They didn't really keep good records because they didn't want to know how bad it was. And they didn't collect the data that was needed. And the jurisdictions that are called so-called sanctuary jurisdictions have not been helpful in actually gathering information about migrant crime. So it's very likely that everything that we know, which is already bad, is probably a lot worse than you know, because the federal government didn't want to keep those kinds of records, and neither did the sanctuary cities. In addition, an analysis of the available statistics by Real Clear Investigations suggests that the crime rate involving non-citizens is vastly understated. A separate RCI analysis based on estimates developed by the Justice Department's National Institute of Justice suggests that crime by illegal aliens who entered the U.S. by July 21st cost the country some $166.5 billion with a B dollars. The problem begins with incomplete initial vetting by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement folks. The criminal histories of migrants from far-flung countries with often shoddy record-keeping are somewhat hard to determine. It's also impractical to hold each person until he or she has passed a rigorous background check. As a result, ICE routinely releases many illegal immigrants into the country on their own recognizance and then discovers afterwards that many had criminal records in their home countries. In response to a request from Representative Tony Gonzalez, Republican of Texas, ICE reported this summer that it has released 7.4 million such non-detained non-citizens into the U.S. during the past 4 decades. ICE reports that these include 662,566 non-citizens with criminal histories, 435,719 individuals with criminal convictions in their home countries, and another 226,847 with pending criminal charges. It probably is going, when we look back at it and we actually get honest numbers on all of this, if we can ever do that, it will show you just how bad it really is. By the way, Trump advisors, according to a story in the Washington Examiner, are looking to reinstate the term illegal alien because it is an accurate description of the people who came here. If you're not a citizen, you come to this country, you're an alien. That's in the law. If you come to this country and you're not a citizen and you do it illegally, you are then accurately described as an illegal alien. It's just, you can try to change the language, but it doesn't change the facts. 50 minutes now past the hour. Well, this weekend at Genesis Diamonds, it's Black Friday blowout sale on lab-grown diamonds, lowest prices ever. How about a 2-carat lab-grown diamond for just $299, a 3-carat for just $499, and a monster 4-carat for just $799? Yes, you heard right. Get these diamonds at unheard-of prices this weekend when you pair it with one of Genesis' exclusive one-of-a-kind designer settings. Imagine a handcrafted designer engagement ring with a 3 or 4-carat diamond in the center. Celebrate Black Friday getting the ring of her dreams at a price that is just a fraction of what others will pay. To Corey, Viraggio, Samji, well, you can choose from America's top designers, exclusively available at Genesis, and create a world-class ring at a price you never thought was possible. Hurry in this weekend. The amazing offer is limited to the first 150 Genesis customers. 2-carat lab-grown diamonds, just $299. 3 carats, $499. 4 carats for $799 when you pair them with a gorgeous Genesis setting. Friday, Saturday, and Cyber Monday, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Ceasefire in the Middle East. Incoming border czar Tom Homan with a direct message to mayors and governors. And rest in peace to the world's oldest man. Coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow Jones Industrials rose 123 points to a new record. The S&P rose 34 to, again, a new record. NASDAQ in the green by 119 points. What is behind all of these green screens? Well, let's check in with John Maxwell over at Beacon Capital Management to find out more. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yep, record on the S&P and the Dow. We've seen that a lot this year. The market was a little bit volatile in early trade. President Trump came out and announced some new tariff claims that he's got. So we'll see how that works out. But the market really shrugged that off. Consumer confidence came out today. Actually was significantly higher than what the expectation was, 117 versus 111. That means consumers feel good and positive. The market really liked the fact that Israel and Hezbollah reached a ceasefire agreement. That's a good thing before the Thanksgiving holiday. And then the Fed meeting minutes from the 7th of November came out, and the Fed's taking somewhat of a cautious tone. Tomorrow we're going to get some additional inflation numbers are going to be coming out. They're going to be watching that closely, and that's going to dictate interest rates going forward, but a really good day in the market today.
All right. Thank you very much. And to find out more about all the things that John Maxon and the good people at Beacon Capital Management do to help you get ready for your retirement, just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. It is 58 minutes past the hour. All right, you know what? Thanksgiving's just a few days away. Let Busy Bee help you get ready for the in-laws who may be coming over for a little gobble-gobble. Busy Bee has a limited number of 14 SEER 1 1/2 to 3 ton split heat pumps for residential replacements, only $6,995. It includes labor, equipment, material, and warranty. This system offers a great balance of energy, efficiency, performance, and year-round comfort for residential unit replacements. How about $750 off an upright tanked water heater with a circulation kit, or a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning? Whatever level you buy in at, you'll get the next level for free. That's right, they'll upgrade you for no extra charge. Lastly, give a free Beehive member to the in-laws. You must have a Beehive membership to qualify for the additional free Beehive membership for your in-laws. Busy Bee, bringing families together for satisfaction guaranteed. Call Busy Bee HVAC, your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833, or go to busybeehvac.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Biden says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a U.S. brokered ceasefire to end the war between Israel and Hezbollah. The Lebanese army and security forces will deploy in southern Lebanon over the next 60 days, take control of the territory controlled by Hezbollah, Biden said. At the same time, Israel will withdraw its forces over the next 60 days in order for civilians to return to their homes on both sides of the border. In a Rose Garden speech, President Biden also called for an end to the fighting in Gaza.
So now Hamas has a choice to make. Their only way out is to release the hostages including American citizens, which they hold.
An appeals court has agreed to end President-elect Donald Trump's classified documents case. It officially ends this battle to charge Trump over retaining records with classified markings after leaving office. Special counsel Jack Smith had been fighting a ruling from Judge Eileen Cannon that tossed the case, determining that the special counsel was unlawfully appointed. Well, today's ruling by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals officially ends it for Trump, but not for co-defendants. And President-elect Trump's pick for border czar visited Eagle Pass, Texas today to thank those stationed along the border. Tom Homan told National Guard members planning is underway for heightened enforcement along the border after President-elect Trump is sworn in. And
let me be clear, there is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border.
To those who push back against the effort, he said the U.S. is a nation of laws and that laws will be enforced.
It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say they're beefing up patrols to deter criminals and fatal crashes during the holiday shopping season. It's going to mean more police officers on the ground and in the air. Talking about cops on horseback at Opry Mills and then cops on bicycles at Tanger Outlet. There'll be cops on foot, cops in cars, cops in helicopters who will radio below if they see anything suspicious. All of that starts on Friday. And the world's oldest man has passed away. Here's ABC's Chuck Severson.
John Tenniswood attributed his longevity to pure luck. When interviewed in April by Guinness World Records, he was 112. Died in a care home in northwest England near Liverpool, says his family. A great-grandfather. Tenniswood cited moderation.
You should always try and keep on moving about.
In civilian life, an accountant, he handled financial matters while serving in the British Army Pay Corps in World War II. On his birthday in August, Tenniswood said he didn't feel 112.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Lots to go over. How about if we start on I-24? Right now, we've got 24 westbound after James Robertson Parkway. Stalled vehicle blocking the right lane partially. 24 eastbound in Montgomery County at Clarksville-Trenton Highway 48, exit 1. You got a crash. It's stopping traffic beginning at the Kentucky state line. Then in Rutherford County, we've got a vehicle on fire. It's blocking the right 2 lanes of 24 eastbound right before Sam Ridley Parkway. Let's move over to 65 in Williamson County. We've got a crash 65 southbound right after exit 61. And then I-40 eastbound approaching Highway 109, a crash with the Highway Patrol on the scene. 40 westbound at the Fairview-Dixon exit 182. And then near the airport, the off-ramp is partially blocked. 40 westbound to Briley Parkway east. And 840 eastbound in Williamson County. We got a crash as you're approaching the Paytonsville Trinity Road, exit 34. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 8 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and you're listening to The Drive on this 26th day of November. We're headed into the big holiday weekend here. I mean, you know what? Already people are starting to travel. It used to be that you traveled on the day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. But I mean, really, it's starting earlier and earlier. So there are a lot of people that are already on the roadways heading out. And when they get to wherever they're going, chances are they're going to sit down to the traditional Thanksgiving meal with friends or family or both. And you're going to be having a lot of eating. And you know what? It's going to cost you more than it did last year. It's going to cost you a lot more than it did when Joe Biden took office. Just how much more? On average, it has gone up 23% since Joe Biden took office. 23% to put on the Thanksgiving Day spread. But when you look at some of the individual items, it's even a lot more. You're going to be shocked by this. You're going to be shocked. Well, no, not if you've been to the grocery store. You're not going to be shocked. But I was shocked at some of these numbers. Turkey, from 2019, when we were coming out of the pandemic or in the middle of the pandemic, turkey has gone up 23.4% since then. Stuffing, which, it's an amazing 52.2%, but I mean, that's because it's stuffing and not dressing, which we all know is, of course, the right word for that. A ham, if you want to do a ham, some people don't like to do turkey, or maybe they do turkey and they do a ham as well. Some people do that. Ham, since 2019, has gone up 61.5%.
Ooh, maybe he won't do the ham this year.
Yeah, maybe not. And so, of course, you got to have some good buttered yeast rolls. Oh, man, love that. Up 66.4% over that same time period. Pie shells, just the pie shell, not the, it depends on what kind of pie you want. I mean, the traditional pumpkin pie, you can have that. Thank you. But the pie shells, no matter what kind of pie it is, you got to have a pie shell, right? It's not pie without a pie shell. Up 34.9, almost 35%. And green beans for that really, really delicious green bean casserole, done with the French onion soup and the little onions on the top. Oh, yeah. Love that stuff. 21% higher. Green beans up 21%. But on average, when you add it all up, according to some statistics, it goes up 24%. So that's thank you, Joe Biden, and your wonderful Bidenomic economy. However, Americans are more optimistic right now than they've been in some time. This from Washington Times. President Biden's job approval rating has dropped to 37%, But Americans are more optimistic about the economy since the November 5th election, according to a Gallup poll released today. The polling company reported that 36% of adults responded to the survey this month believe that the economy is getting better. That's up from 32% in October. And fewer rate the economy as poor. At the same time, just 22% of the survey participants expressed satisfaction with the direction of the nation in the waning days of the Biden administration, down from 26% on Election Day. But the increased optimism among Republicans and deepening despair among Democrats is the reason for the shifts. Republicans' views about the national conditions are likely to become increasingly positive in the coming months, while Democrats' opinions will likely sour, says Gallup's senior editor. Well, they're already a bunch of sourpusses anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Here's another story, this one from thehill.com, talking about how Americans rank their confidence in the economy as minus 17, but that's a 9-point improvement since October. So, since the election, there are a great number of Americans who feel a lot better about where we are headed. Today, it's been known, or I guess in the last couple of days, Donald Trump's been talking about tariffs on China, on Canada, and on Mexico. President-elect Donald Trump plans to raise tariffs by an additional 10% on all Chinese goods coming to the United States, according to a post on his social media platform, Truth Social. That's what they say. And you know what? That is gonna sting a little bit. I don't know what to tell you about this. Things could get a little more expensive. But think about this for a moment. According to Goldman Sachs, I got another story here. Trump's proposed tariff increases would boost inflation by nearly 1%, according to Goldman Sachs. And they go into a lot of detail here about how they come up with that number. But they believe that, yes, if you actually end up imposing these tariffs against China, against Canada, and against Mexico, and what you got to understand is these tariffs are a negotiating ploy. And you've got to make it painful for Canada and Mexico if you want to get them to behave the way you want them to behave with things like immigration and other things. So, but Goldman Sachs says, okay, a 10% tariff on China, 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You're talking about a 1% increase in inflation. If that happens, a 1%. So you're going to hear all these dire stories from the left about, well, he's going to cause inflation with all of these tariffs. Goldman Sachs says 1%. All right, so 1% is still 1%, right? But think about this for a moment. We went through 9.1% inflation with Joe Biden with his policies. Here we're talking about, some potential tariffs that could cause a 1% increase in your inflation rate. But then comes the good part of it, which they're not talking about, which is eventually to avoid these tariffs, having to pay these outrageous tariffs. A lot of companies that do business, they do business in America, but their manufacturing facilities are in Canada, manufacturing facilities are in Mexico or in China, are going to bring those jobs back to America, which is what we saw in the first Trump administration. So, yeah, you may see a temporary rise of inflation. And I'm giving you that in advance. It could go up a little bit if they have to actually impose these tariffs. But over the long term, the economy of America will be so much healthier when they start bringing back those jobs to avoid the tariffs. So, don't let them get you all worried about what tariffs are going to do. Yeah, it will sting a little bit, but not as bad as what Biden's policies were. And certainly over the long term, we come up with a much stronger economy, and we're building products in America rather than building them in China, Mexico, and Canada. That means jobs for Americans, increased wages for Americans. People will be doing better. Trump knows what he's doing in this regard. But it just drives the Democrats nuts, and they're going to try to make you believe that it's not working. It will work. Absolutely will work. So about these tariffs, okay. President-elect Donald Trump plans to raise tariffs by an additional 10% on all Chinese goods, according to CNBC. Chinese goods coming to the U.S. The post immediately followed by one which Trump said the first of many executive orders would impose tariffs of 25% on all products from Mexico and Canada and would end a regional free trade agreement. Trump is set to be inaugurated on January 20th. He cited illegal immigration and illicit drug trade as the reason for the tariffs. I've had many talks with China about the massive amount of drugs, in particular fentanyl, being sent into the United States, but to no avail. He claimed that they made promises that they would do it, but they did not live up to their promises. But no one will win a trade war, they say, in China. But here's the thing. Trump will say that I will not impose them if you do a couple of things. Number one, you've got to stop sending the precursor drugs for fentanyl to the United States or to Mexico where these things are manufactured. You've got to crack down on illegal immigration and illicit drug trade. And if you do all these things, then maybe there won't be. Or as soon as you do these things, we'll lift them. See, it's a bargaining chip. What do we want from Mexico? To stop the flow of illegal immigration. How do we get it? Hey, until you solve that problem, Mexico, we're going to hit you with a 25% tariff. And they say, well, we'll do the same to you. Okay, so what? We'll be able to endure that, I'm sure. Same with Canada. Our economies, comparatively, they need us a lot more than we need them. Believe me when I say that. So, it is always with Trump, it is an ends to a means. It's not just like, sure, we'll get some money, we'll put some money in the coffers while these tariffs are in place. But really what he wants is he wants them to do better. Quit sending the drugs that they use to make fentanyl. Stop sending people across the border illegally. You have the ability to do it in Mexico. You've done it before. You need to do it again. And once they crack down and are more responsible on their side of the border about these things in Canada, Mexico, and in China, then, okay, now we can talk about maybe lifting these embargoes, these tariffs, not embargoes, but tariffs on the goods that you send here. So all I'm telling you is that we have to have some trust in Donald Trump because, and I've seen him do it before. He's been able to get the people in Mexico to comply in a way that Biden never would. They walked all over Biden. They're not going to walk all over Donald Trump, and he will look out for the best interests of this country. Will there be a slight uptick in inflation? It's entirely possible. That could happen. I mean, some of the best, financial minds in the world have crunched the numbers, and they say maybe a percentage point. That could happen. And, that means that you go down to buy a TV that was manufactured in China, it might cost you 1% more. But at the end of the day, what you're going to do is get China to pay attention. Economically, they need us. And so there we go. Are we selling a lot of goods in China? Maybe we do. But in the long term, what you want is a stronger economy based on manufacturing in this country rather than manufacturing. We got to the place where we didn't make things in America. We designed them. We had the intellectual property was based in America, but the actual construction of the product was done in cheaper places. Let's bring those jobs back. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Ceasefire imminent in the Middle East, and wait until you hear the age of a carjacking suspect, which Metro Nashville police had to use spike strips to arrest. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour. That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and we got Chris Weber in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons together with me. That makes up the drive each day until it's not there anymore. But we still got a few more days to go. I'm going to be not here tomorrow, and I'll be gone on Thursday, and Friday's a company holiday, so I'll be gone then too. Yes, I know, what a life. But here's the thing. I'll be also picking up a couple of days extra heading into Christmas. It looks like so. We'll all even out in the end. But since I won't be here on Thanksgiving or the day before. It's time for us to have our annual playing of my favorite segment from a sitcom ever. Yes, you know, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm talking about. The very famous scene from WKRP in Cincinnati, which, of course, was a sitcom for young people who don't know, is a sitcom about a radio station. And they had a guy named Les Nessman, who was the newsman, and he was a character.
He was award-winning.
He was award-winning newsman. Right. Yeah, he won the Buckeye Award how many times?
Well, and the Copper Cob Award.
Well, that's exactly right. And then the station manager was a person named Mr. Carlson. And so Mr. Carlson decided that he wanted to take over the radio station promotion leading up to Thanksgiving. And they sent Les Messman down with the live rig to do live reporting of the event and a shopping center in Cincinnati. And it went something like this.
All right, fellow babies, and now it's time to go to our live remote man on the scene at the Pinedale Shopping Mall for the big WKRP turkey giveaway. So, take it away, Les Nessman.
This is Les Nessman, your man on the scene here at the Pinedale Shopping Center where the excitement is mounting. We're here to witness the big WKRP Turkey Thanksgiving giveaway.
Hey, you got permission to be out here?
What?
You're blocking my store here, buddy.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Les Nessman. I won the Buckeye News Hawk Award last year.
Good for you, Buckeye. Now get out of my doorway.
I'm sorry. Creep.
So far, so good, huh?
I'm here with hundreds of people who have gathered to witness what has been described as perhaps the greatest turkey event in Thanksgiving Day history. All we know for sure is that in a very few moments there are going to be a lot of happy people out here. Now the crowd is curious but well behaved. And I think I hear something now. The crowd is moving out into the parking area. And oh yes, I can see it now. It's a helicopter. And it's coming this way.
A helicopter?
It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner. And it says, Happy Thanksgiving. From WKRP. What a sight, ladies and gentlemen. What a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object. Perhaps a skydiver plummeting to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second to the third. There's no parachutes yet. Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! Johnny, this is terrible. The cars running around, pushing each other? Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! People are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. For those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you, man.
That was, I think, and you know, it's just how crazy this business is. That something like that could probably happen.
Absolutely.
As funny as it is, there's a lot of reality in that.
And if you've ever watched WKRP, there's a lot of nuggets of truth about the radio industry for sure.
Yep.
Well, anyway, we got that out of the way, and it's a tradition on this program. Now it's time for the news, 31 past the hour.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. President Biden says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a U.S. brokered 60-day ceasefire to end the war between Israel and Hezbollah.
Let's be clear. Israel did not launch this war. The Lebanese people did not seek that war either, nor did the United States.
And now he says it's up to Hamas to release all the hostages, including Americans, to end the war in Gaza. And here in Nashville, Metro Police say they used spike strips to arrest a carjacking suspect overnight. He had used a gun to take a Ford F-150 Raptor from 7th Avenue North. The pickup's owner able to use the Ford app to track his stolen pickup to Whites Creek Pike, where police got it stopped. 2 people got out of the pickup, ran away into some woods, but they couldn't escape K-9 officer Austin Bass and his partner Otto. They arrested Kieran Claybrooks, who is 14 years old. His buddy was released to his parents because police said he had nothing to do with the crime. He was just along for the ride. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Another record close for the markets, which shook off concerns on Trump's tariff talks. The Dow adding 124 points, hitting a record close of 44,860. The S&P gained 34. The Nasdaq rose 119. President-elect Trump is vowing to impose new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China as soon as he takes office. At first, the news rattled markets, but stocks rebounded as investors take a wait-and-see approach. Some stocks on the losing end of the news included General Motors, Ford, and Constellation Brands, which sells Modelo and other Mexican beers. Automaker Rivian climbed 4% after announcing a $6.6 billion energy department loan to build a new Atlanta plant. There's no slowing home prices yet, and to meet affordability issues, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will back mortgages up to $806,500 starting next year.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, crashes on 24 right now. We've got one in Montgomery County. That's going to be eastbound at exit 1. Then looking over here in Rutherford County, you've got the right 2 lanes blocked by a vehicle fire, 24 eastbound before exit 66. This is going to be in Smyrna. In Franklin, 65 southbound after Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek Bypass, exit 61. A crash reported there. And then in Lebanon, 40 eastbound approaching Highway 109. Highway Patrol reporting a crash there in Wilson County. And back to Williamson County. We've got 840 eastbound approaching exit 34. Police on the scene of a crash at that location. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Say, if you're in the market for a pole barn, the two brothers that run Stoltzko are two guys that you need to talk to. Known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices, they can build your new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind. That is the Stoltzko difference. Now, listen, maybe you've got a piece of property that you own out in the country somewhere. And you say, well, what are you doing with it? Well, let's build something on it. Let's make an investment in that property. Maybe you want to build a barn dominium. That's a barn that you live in. And they're uber cool, very popular, much in demand. A pole barn could be used as a garage. How about an equestrian space if you're into the horsey scene? Or maybe you do an event space and you rent the place out on weekends. One way or the other, there's a lot of things you could do. Do me a favor. Go to their website, stoltzko.com, STOLTZCO. Take a look at what they have on their website and see what they've done for other people, and then you'll get some great ideas, right? And then give them a call, 615-622-5992. Stoltzko.com. That's Stoltzko.com. It is 39 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and I am here all the way till 7 o'clock when Mark Levin, well, I was listening to Mark Levin last night. I was coming home from the Radiothon downtown. Well, he was on fire. He's got a lot of things, so you definitely want to catch Mark Levin if you haven't listened in a while. He's got things that you need to know. Smart guy, for sure. You know what time it is? It's time to do our favorite Woke World segment. Cue the children.
It's a woke world after all.
Ba, 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 ba.
It's a woke world after all.
Sing along.
Okay. It's a woke world after all. It's a woke world.
That's right, it's a woke world. Oh, they're not done. I thought they were done. Well, maybe a little less woke than it has been of late. Have you been paying attention to what Robbie Starbuck, a Tennessee filmmaker Robbie Starbuck, a former politician, he ran for elected office here, well, he tried to anyway, didn't work out so well, but he has been busy going after major corporations around the country that have DEI programs. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I always have to say this. I don't have any problem with diversity. Not a bit. Not a bit. I think diversity is a great thing. Bring me some diversity. I don't have any problem at all with the inclusion part. Not at all. I believe that everybody should be included, but it's the equity part that I have a problem, because equity sounds like equality, but it's not. It is not. It's a very different thing. With equality, everybody gets the same chance and the same opportunity. And then, what you do with that opportunity is up to you. You work hard, put your nose to the grindstone, you show up on time, you do a good job, you will succeed in America. If you don't, then you may not. But equity says everybody should succeed. Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets a trophy. You know that deal. So he's been going to a lot of these big corporations and just asking a few questions about their DEI policies, which many of them are on record as being supportive of these DEI policies. And he's had a tremendous impact. The latest one, you ready? Not a bigger company in America. Walmart has decided, after having a conversation with Mr. Starbuck, to end its DEI woke program. Walmart is ending their woke policies. I can now exclusively tell you what's changing and how it happened, wrote Starbuck in a post to the social media platform X, this according to the Tennessee Star. He contacted the company's executives to inform them that he was preparing to release a story about the corporate wokeness at Walmart. In response to Starbucks' inquiry, Starbucks reported that Walmart offered 7 concessions. Walmart will monitor its digital marketplace in order to identify and remove inappropriate sexual and/or transgender products marketed to children, and will review all funding for LGBTQ events to avoid funding inappropriate sexualized content targeting kids. The company also reportedly pledged to end its racial equity center, though the company noted to Starbucks that the program was established in 2020 as a special 5-year initiative. Walmart also told Starbucks it plans to evaluate its suppliers to ensure the company is not selecting contracts solely based on diversity, will increase determining eligibility for financing based on diversity data, and maintains that it does not use a race-based quota system to fulfill diversity requirements. It also committed to ending the current racial equity training programs and will cease using terms like Latinx, a gender-neutral term for Latinos disliked by many in that community. Starbucks also reported that Walmart pledged to discontinue all of its DEI programs. Walmart will discontinue the use of DEI as a term while ensuring a respectful and supportive environment, which is all you want, right? The company reportedly told Starbucks, our focus is on belonging for all associates and customers. Tennessee filmmaker noted that Walmart remains the largest employer in the United States with more than 1.6 million employees, and predicted the corporate changes would have a ripple effect through other countries. Starbucks added, I have to give their executives major credit because this will send shockwaves throughout corporate America. This is the biggest win yet for our movement to end wokeness in corporate America. Oh, man, I mean, they've had an incredible run of good luck in this regard. Here's a story from Fox Business, who just seems to be paying attention to it. Walmart rolls back DEI policies, becoming the largest U.S. firm to join this growing trend. Walmart joins, are you ready for some of these big corporations that have now walked away from their DEI initiatives as a result of having this interaction with Starbucks? Walmart joins Ford, John Deere, Toyota, and other major companies. I got to see if I can find the whole list, but I mean, Tractor Supply is in there. And so there you go. And by the way, Walmart confirmed all this to Fox News. Let's see. Walmart joined an array of companies in recent months, including Ford and John Deere, to end participation in the Human Rights Campaign. the Corporate Equality Index, which is an annual survey and report used to gauge policies, practices, and benefits pertinent to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer employees. Walmart confirmed it was notified about the Starbucks video last week. Walmart does not generally comment on politics. Starbucks is taking a victory lap over Walmart's announced changes, telling Fox Business Walmart is the single largest employer in the United States. Removing wokeness from Walmart has both downstream effects on suppliers and sets the tone for corporate America. Changing normal operating policy at a nearly $1 trillion company is a gargantuan feat that that many have tried to achieve, but no one until now has actually been able to get it done. These companies, why are they doing it? Why are they reacting like this? Because they have seen what happened with Bud Light. Let's just be honest about it. That is a perfect example, and they live in mortal fear of being the next Bud Light. And so, kudos to Robbie Starbuck. I give him very high marks for doing this. I've got to tell you. So here's the Tennessee Star. Here is the Tennessean. The Tennessean itself, the newspaper, did a story about this. And of course, to regular readers of the Tennessean, they didn't know anything about this until now. And they're talking about all of this and talked about how the other things that have done. When did companies, organizations, and schools start DEI initiatives? They talk about, it was some time back. They explained who Robbie Starbuck is. And what is the future of DEI in America? While some major companies cave to pressure to change their DEI initiatives, others aren't going anywhere, but it won't be easy to keep these programs alive considering the political climate. Well, no, I mean, Americans are outraged by this stuff. A survey by Business Research Group, the Conference Board, shows more than 60% of corporate executives surveyed view today's political climate for corporate DEI as very or extremely challenging, and most expected continued or escalating pushback. The pushback is expected, but companies don't plan on scaling back initiatives that began to take shape 4 years ago. I disagree, and we have evidence that some of the biggest corporations in America. Ford does not want to have its market share go down dramatically because they took the Bud Light position, or they are perceived as a woke company. Time and time again, we've seen this where woke equals broke, and Americans don't want this. Americans believe in fairness. Americans believe in respecting the rights of others. That's what we're all about. But Americans do not believe that this whole idea of equity, where everybody, it gets promoted, even if you didn't do the work, then we're going to look at, let's look at our racial mix-up. Let's look at our how many gays have been promoted. Let's look at all of that stuff. They look at it and they go, you know what? Quite frankly, that's not the way we do it in America. America says, I don't care about your color. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your creed. I don't care about your gender. I don't care. That's the way they ought to be, neutral about this. What I do care is what you bring me as an employee. Whether you come in and you do your job well every day, and if you do your job well, there will be an opportunity for you to advance. And now there are millions of stories about people who've worked at Walmart, who've come in, started at the bottom rung, and have gone all the way up to be store managers, or executives. I mean, they will promote you if you do good work, and that ought to be the only criteria. So there you have it. Here's another DEI story, this one from the Washington Times. DEI hires damaged the CIA and other intelligence agencies, former analyst charges. Federal government diversity policies that favor sexual identity groups, ethnic minorities, and women have damaged effectiveness of the CIA and other American intelligence agencies and are undermining national security, according to a critical new book by a former CIA analyst. Contrary to claims made by senior intelligence leaders, DEI, aggressively imposed during the Obama administration, revived and advanced under President Biden, have not improved the performance of the U.S. intelligence agency, argues author John A. Gentry, who spent 12 years as an analyst for the CIA. Mr. Gentry contests the claims of Obama administration Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, described in the book as an overtly partisan leader who asserted that demographic diversity improves the operation of intelligence agencies. Similar views were held by current DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines. The book documents the extensive damage that DEI policies of the Obama and Biden administration have done to U.S. intelligence and speculates about the resultant damage to national security. And I would add to that FBI. I would add to that the Secret Service. And who knows about all the other things that haven't been as visible to us in America, where the government has not gotten better as a result of DEI. It is 51 past the hour. Well, you know, we've just gone through this election, and you may think, well, I need to look at my portfolio. Maybe it's time to make an assessment of whether I'm doing the right things now because the economic climate may be changing. Well, if you feel like that, you're not alone. But there are steps that you can take now to be better positioned regardless of what happens going forward. You deserve the confidence to know that no matter what's going on with the economy, you have a plan that helps keep your financial goals in line with your life's priorities. If you're in or nearing retirement, Beacon Capital Management has a free retirement-ready toolkit just for you. You'll get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, and no pressure. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call this number, 615-488-9303. That'll get the ball rolling. Get your free retirement-ready toolkit. The number again, write it down, 615-488-9303.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Biden says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a U.S. brokered ceasefire to end the war between Israel and Hezbollah. In a Rose Garden speech today, Biden said the deal goes into effect tomorrow, 4 a.m. local time in Israel.
President Biden said the ceasefire agreement reached between the Israeli and Lebanese governments represents a new start for Lebanon and is designed to be a permanent end to the violence.
Civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities and begin to rebuild their homes, their schools, their farms, their businesses, and their very lives.
The president said lasting security for the people of Israel and Lebanon cannot be achieved only on the battlefield, and said Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations will not be allowed to continue to threaten Israel's security. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Incoming Trump administration border czar Tom Homan, during a trip to Eagle Pass, Texas today, said there will be mass deportation of illegal immigrants after President-elect Trump sworn in, and he had a message for any mayor or governor who tries to block it.
This is a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
Homan, with Governor Greg Abbott, spent time with and served turkey, too. Members of the Texas National Guard who've been deployed through Operation Lone Star. He promised them help is on the way. Walmart says it's rolling back its DEI policies, becoming the latest and largest company to do so. Alexis Christoforous.
Walmart did say it's not going to give priority treatment to suppliers based on race and gender. It's going to pull out of a prominent gay rights index so it can better monitor its third-party marketplace items to make sure that they don't feature sexual or transgender products aimed at minors. And it's not going to renew a 5-year commitment for equity racial centers that it had put in place after the killing of George Floyd 5 years ago.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police have announced plans to beef up patrols around popular shopping hubs to deter crime. This will be patrols on foot, in cars, on horseback, and in the air. You'll see officers on horseback at Opry Mills Mall. In the air, cops in helicopters will radio below when they see anything suspicious. The goal is to get people to drive better, too. Stepped up patrols on Briley Parkway near Opry Mills, I-24 near Tanger Outlets, I-40 in the area of West Nashville, with a primary focus on speeding and aggressive driving. MNPD says speed has been a contributing factor in more than a quarter of this year's fatality crashes, which have claimed the lives of 104 persons so far. 54 of those people weren't buckled up. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4's Brandon Tierney says 3 men face a judge in January for climbing to the top of the tallest building downtown.
People who saw the 3 men climbing up the Batman building say they couldn't believe what was happening.
3 individuals on the top of the AT&T building, like on the tower parts.
Metro Police say they started getting calls from people on Broadway rooftop bars around 4:40 Sunday night. Video shows the men hanging off the top of the building with what appears to be video cameras. Metro Police say they were laying down on the AT&T logo at one point, but when officers got up there, the men had run away. Police found them a couple of hours later hiding in a locked bathroom stall. Metro Police say the 3 men are facing aggravated trespassing and disorderly conduct charges.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All the usual slowdowns are in effect, and we do have one crash in Wilson County to tell you about. This is going to be 40 westbound, right before Lebanon Watertown. Sparta Pike, exit 239. Highway Patrol there on the scene. That's that is the traffic for this time around. By the way, we have traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. It's time to begin hour number 3 of the drive for this 26th day of November. A lot of people already headed out over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go for a little turkey. And it's not stuffing, it's dressing. You know, Cabana wife, because I've made such a big deal about how important dressing is to me. As when I went, to Washington, D.C., I took upon myself to become an ambassador for cornbread dressing. They didn't know about it. Those poor souls up there, they just didn't understand how good it is. And so I brought some in one Thanksgiving to the TV station where I was working. And from that moment on, they were converted. They no longer talked about stuffing. They talked about cornbread dressing. And then I went to Fox News and I became a national ambassador for cornbread dressing. To this day, if you Google Brian Wilson Fox News cornbread dressing recipe, you will find it. It's still there.
It is still there. I looked the other day.
Yeah, it's still absolutely there. Cornbread dressing. So, but I don't have to talk to you about the importance of cornbread dressing. But Cabana wife makes sure that because it's so important to me, I make the dressing. And then she doesn't understand this thing, this amazing manna from heaven that we call green bean casserole. With the mushroom soup and the green beans and the little onions that you put on the top of
little
it.
Crispies, yeah.
Yeah, the little crispy onions that you put on top. She doesn't understand all that, so I'm responsible for that. So what is she responsible for? Well, I mean, she does a lot of things, but she'll open up the can of cranberry stuff. And I insist that it come to the table looking just like that.
In can form.
In can form. It's a tradition. Yeah, and then you slice it up a little bit. I got to have some of that. So that's not really hard work. So really you would guess that it's just the turkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're having somebody else do the turkey. We're getting a smoked turkey this year. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, doesn't it? I mean, I've fried the turkey the last couple of years. And that was great. I'd never done that before. You got to be careful with it if you don't know what you're doing. It's all about displacement. If you don't know what displacement is, don't try.
Yeah, just don't do
to fry a turkey.
Don't do it.
No, it's all about displacement, which I learned in 7th grade science class. So, but anyway, I don't know what other things she's going to be bringing to the table, but it sounds like the turkey, we're picking it up. I'm doing the cornbread dressing. I'm doing the green bean casserole, I assume. I assume that she doesn't want to do that, but we'll find out. Maybe she will.
Sounds like you're doing all the heavy lifting there, Brian.
Well, somebody is.
I'm trying to get you in trouble.
I know you are. Well, I'm already in trouble, so it doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. But anyway, hope that you are planning a good Thanksgiving. I won't be here after today. Be back next week. But enjoy with your family this, and stop for a moment and actually remember what Thanksgiving is all about. See, I always thought it was about giving thanks, and that's why I always say Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was, I don't know, well into my 60s before somebody informed me that I was saying the word wrong.
Which is it now? I'm confused.
It's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
But I always said Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's the way I say it.
Thanksgiving.
That's a Texas way of saying it. Texans often put the emphasis on the first syllable.
Yeah.
And so it was Thanksgiving. But I'm told now it's Thanksgiving.
See, that one I could go either way with. I could say it either way, and it sounds okay to me.
They say, well, the giving is the hope. No, it's not about giving. That's Christmas. I mean, it's the thanks that you're giving. So thanks is the more important part of that word.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm going to back you on this one, Wilson.
All right.
I'm with that.
I think we should start. That'll be my new campaign.
Put the thanks back in Thanksgiving.
Put the thanks back in Thanksgiving. That's right. Pete Hegseth, our friend who is here normally on Wednesdays when he could do that. He can't do that anymore right now because he's been chosen to be the next Secretary of Defense. And as you know, there have been some questions that have been raised about an incident that occurred in, 2017, I think it is? Yes, that's right. And it's come up, a couple of times. And some people say maybe he shouldn't go forward. I would say, look, let's take a moment and hear his side of the story. Listen to this. New York Post. Pete Hegseth's lawyer demands release of file on sex assault claim that may indicate the accuser made similar false allegations against another man. Defense Secretary designee Pete Hegseth is demanding a file from the Monterey County, California District Attorney's Office that his legal team believes may contain additional exonerating information about a 2017 incident leveled against him, the Post can reveal. The records request comes as some Democrats continue to cast doubt on whether or not he's the right guy. The memorandum underpinning the decision not to prosecute Hegseth is believed to describe an earlier allegation of sexual misconduct made by the same woman in a different jurisdiction. Hegseth attorney Tim Parlatore said, as part of our investigation, we received credible information indicating that she may have made a similar false allegation against another man in the past, and the DA may have relied upon this as part of their determination. In addition to other witnesses who contradicted her story, Parlatore told the Post. By the way, the DA's office in Monterey, California, led by elected District Attorney Janine Passione, on Friday declined to produce that documentation, saying the records request are exempt from disclosure. Your request for memorandum contains the opinions, conclusions, impressions, legal research, and or legal theories of the handling of the attorneys in this matter. These constitute core work products and are exempt from disclosure. Well, it seems like, that's sort of an important thing. If you're going to level an allegation against somebody, by the way, she's known only as Jane Doe in leveling these allegations. His name is out there. She's made the allegations. Now comes an opportunity to find out, well, maybe this person has a history of doing this. That's what we were led to believe. Can you tell us more about this? And the DA says, no, we're not going to tell you more about it. Doesn't quite seem fair or right, does it? This came up on CNN the other day in an interview with Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who is supporting the Hegseth nomination. Dana Bash was asking some questions, and it went like this.
As you well know, he's been accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 2017. He says it was a consensual encounter. And you argued that a police report that came out this week showed there were just two people flirting with each other. But I want to just make sure our viewers know what that report said, that the woman said that when she tried to leave Hegseth's hotel room, he blocked the door, ended up on top of her and performed a sexual act. She also said that she, quote, remembered saying no to a lot.
Dana, if we're going to get into that, let's talk about the whole police report. Now, I know you read it, and I have definitely read it. First of all, the police report, if you look at it, it's very clear that what Pete was saying and what his attorney was saying was accurate. There was no case here. He was falsely accused. If you go back and you read the report, there was 2 eyewitnesses said that she was being the aggressor. Pete wasn't even flirting with her. He was flirting with a different girl, and the other girl was trying to flirt with Pete, the Jane Doe here that is unmentioned. They also said that she was holding his arm as they were leaving, and that Pete was intoxicated, and the Jane Doe was not. They obviously said, multiple people said, that she was aggressively, to the point of aggressively, use the word aggressively, flirting towards him.
I wasn't done. I wasn't done. You're giving his side, and it was definitely, the police report is definitely what she said and what he said. You're absolutely right. I hadn't gotten there, but I appreciate you giving that other side for me. So I guess that just kind of answers the question, which is, from your perspective, you believe his part of the story and not hers.
I absolutely do. He wasn't charged. He wasn't even kind of charged in this. There was no crime committed. The police dropped everything. It's what's unfortunate in today's world. You can be accused of anything, and then especially if it's something like this, you're automatically assumed to be guilty. If you read the police report from cover to cover, which I have, and I know every reporter has too, it is clear there was nothing there. There was clear that there was no crime committed, and so that doesn't prevent Pete from moving forward in this. The American people gave President Trump a mandate because they want to change the way government has been working. Government has been working for a party, not for the people, and President Trump is putting people there that's going to make changes, and unfortunately the establishment is trying to hold that back and trying to find every little piece of detail they can to say that this person is disqualified. Pete is qualified to be the SecDef.
I think he is too. Now look, I wasn't there, but when you read this police report, I think what Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma has said there, I think you walk away with that impression. All I can say is I've read the police report. If you have concerns about this, I suggest you read the police report. I mean, it's a little, it's not pleasant reading on any stretch of the imagination, but I think there were enough questions here about the allegations that were leveled against Pete that the police department and the district attorney's office there did not feel like there was a case. And they say, well, but Pete paid her off. Well, you know what? I can tell you that, if you're in a position where you have a very public job and allegations are leveled against you, sometimes that's the course of action that is taken. Because honestly, the moment that they make the allegation, which has now been made public, you immediately lose because people are going to assume the worst. The damage is done. The bell has been rung, and you can't unring it. So, I can promise you this is often done in legal circles in such matters. But one way or the other, when you read the police report, you walk away with a sense that, everything that has been alleged may not be quite the way they'd alleged it. But he's going to get a hearing. The Democrats are going to bring this up. Pete deserves the opportunity to clear his name. He deserves the opportunity to stand in that well and answer those questions. And I'm very pleased to see that the Trump transition team is willing to let him have that opportunity. To me, it seems only fair. 20 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let me talk about my friends over at Restoration Wellness Med Spa. Restoration Wellness is a leader in advanced therapy treatments for arthrosis and chronic pain in Middle Tennessee. Chronic pain affects 20% of all adults in the U.S., and chronic pain increases with age, affecting nearly 50% of all adults over the age of 65. Don't let chronic pain control your life. Restoration Wellness has the newest technology in joint injections, a minimally invasive treatment to relieve pain without needing surgery. Restoration Wellness joint injection treatments can help relieve anything from shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, everything in between. They put together personalized treatment plans specific to your needs. So let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your health goals this year. Call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. My friends Carly and Jamie will take great care of you like you're just part of the family. Say goodbye to your chronic pain and get a new lease on life.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Ceasefire in the Middle East. Hear what President-elect Trump's borders are, said in Texas today. Beefed up holiday patrols in Nashville, and a Florida golfer killed with his own club. Coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 24 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Brian Wilson in the chair all the way till 7 o'clock as we bring you news and information. I hope that you're doing well. You know, this is I got to tell you, there's a lot of people out on the road, already. I think it's one of two things. Number one, a lot of activity of people, like you go down to, where all the shopping is done, and man, I'm telling you, people are already, I think they're doing their shopping for Thanksgiving dinner, but also I think that people are already starting their Christmas shopping.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any people really getting after it. And so, that, and you know what? I think the economy is such that, sure, it's been a tough, few years with the Biden administration and inflation at one point going up to 9.1% and things on average costing you about 20% more than they did when Joe Biden took office. That really hurts. But I think there's an optimism that things are going to get better. I mean, I'm hearing from people that, the purse strings are being loosed a little bit. People are now willing to say, well, I feel better about the future, so I'll be able to spend a little bit more. I think it's going to be a pretty good Christmas season. I mean, that's my thinking. What do you think?
I think you're right about that. I think people are encouraged by what's happening or getting ready to happen, I guess, in Washington.
Well, I mean, there have been polls out there that said the majority of Americans like what they're hearing out of Mar-a-Lago. Now clearly, if Donald Trump was, you are absolutely against Donald Trump, you're probably not all that excited about what's happening. But, about 60% of Americans are very pleased with what's going on and what they hear. And that's higher than the number of people who said they approved of Donald Trump prior to the election. So what that says to me is that people are hearing, okay, here's his plan. He's going to be the president. And they hear the names that are being, announced out of Mar-a-Lago. They hear the all of the discussion about that kind of stuff, and they go, well, okay, I'm feeling a little better about this stuff. Then maybe even those people who maybe didn't even vote for Donald Trump are feeling better about how the economy may shake up and how the future might look. So that's a good sign. It's a good sign. And meanwhile, Biden, his for approval rating is just through the toilet. I mean, it's just dropping and dropping. I think it's just, 37% now approval. That's a little bit more than a third of Americans approve of him as he winds up. I look at him and I got to tell you, Chris, have you seen him lately?
Yeah, it's
at the G7 meeting and others, I mean, it's getting really bad. I cross my fingers and it comes at a time when there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Well, now, in the Middle East, apparently there will be a ceasefire. Benjamin Netanyahu today, and you'll hear more about it in the newscast here in just a few moments. But basically, there is a ceasefire into place with Hezbollah in Lebanon that begins tomorrow morning. And that the United States is very pleased. Biden's very pleased about this right now. But again, I don't think that Benjamin Netanyahu needs to apologize for anything that Israel has done after the actions of October 7th. So, stop it. We're a little more than a year over, that day, that horrible day. But I think that they have done what they needed to do to sort of clean up that situation. Now they say they're going to focus on keeping an eye on Iran, which of course is the funder of all the bad activity in that part of the world. Iran funds Hezbollah, it funds Hamas, it funds the Houthis. It's the three H's of terror in that particular, the Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis. So they are absolutely supporting all of that. And then there is this very quickly. This initial reporting was done at the New York Times. This version is from LifeZette. Biden administration considering giving Ukraine nuclear weapons before Trump returns, according to one report. U.S. and European officials have reportedly been discussing a range of options to deter further Russian territorial gains in Ukraine, including the possibilities of providing Ukraine with nuclear weapons, according to the New York Times. This discussion comes as both the U.S. and its NATO allies seek ways to bolster Ukraine's position before the transition of power in Washington on January 20th, when Donald Trump will be sworn into office. The Biden-Harris administration, concerned about the growing threat from Russia, has been working to expedite the flow of weapons to Ukraine, including long-range weapons that allow Kyiv to strike targets within Russian territory. Despite these efforts, officials from the U.S. intelligence community have cautioned that these actions will likely have limited impact on the outcome of the war in the short term. The thing about it is that, okay, we give them long-range missiles. What do? They take out a weapons depot. What do the Russians do? They attack population centers. It's a little different, isn't it? You say, well, we gave them permission to use these long-range weapons. Well, we also put restrictions on the kind of targets, apparently, that they can hit inside Russia. No population centers, only military targets. So watch this situation closely over the next few days. It's 5:30 on Super Talk. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast, traffic in 5 minutes, ceasefire imminent in the Middle East.
I just spoke with the Prime Minister of Israel and Lebanon. I'm pleased to announce that their governments have accepted the United States proposal to end the devastating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah.
President Biden from the Rose Garden says it takes effect tomorrow morning. As for Gaza,
and so now Hamas has a choice to make. Their only way out is to release the hostages, including American citizens, which they hold.
President-elect Trump's pick for border czar visited Eagle Pass, Texas today to thank those stationed along the border.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan was joined by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to serve turkey to National Guard members stationed along the border as part of Operation Lone Star. Homan told the National Guard members that planning is underway for heightened enforcement along the border after President-elect Trump is sworn in and said,
"There is going to be a mass deportation, because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border."
To those who push back against the effort, he said the U.S. is a nation of laws and that laws will be enforced. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say you can expect to see beefed-up patrols for the holiday shopping season. Cops on the ground and in the air near major shopping hubs, including Opry Mills, Tanger Outlets, Green Hills. They say they'll have cops on horseback at Opry. They'll be on bikes at Tanger, and in the air, cops in helicopters will be watching for suspicious activity and radio below if they see it. This enhanced visibility starts on Friday. And police in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, charging a 36-year-old man with murder after they say he attacked a 65-year-old golfer with his own clubs. The suspect is Junior Boucher.
This appears to be a random act of violence where Boucher used the victim's golf clubs as weapons and viciously attacked the victim, ultimately killing him.
Boucher appeared before a judge today. Police say the two men fought on the course. Both fell to the ground. Then a witness says one hit the other in the head with a golf club. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, here we go with the pickup and drop-off delays. I-40 eastbound off-ramp to International Airport. Ramp traffic is very slow. Looking out here at Wilson County, I-40 eastbound at Lebanon, we've got a crash, 3 vehicles involved. Then in Madison, 65 northbound after Old Hickory Boulevard, the left lane is blocked there at exit 92. And then here downtown, the South Loop downtown, we got a crash, 40 eastbound. It's right after 4th Avenue. A lot of traffic coming off of northbound 65 at that location. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, Grace Point Healthcare provides affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine the old-fashioned way. They have basic smart care plans. This is really not a bad deal. You pay $69 a month, and what you get is free office visits and free basic labs and diagnostic tests. At Grace Point, you are usually seen the same day or the next day. There are no long wait times in the waiting room. And at Grace Point is your primary provider that treats the entire family, even newborns, all the way up to seniors. Listen, when you get to a certain age, our hormones begin to fluctuate, taking a toll on our lifestyle. Grace Point provides comprehensive hormone testing and treatment for both men and women. Grace Point is a military veteran practice located in the heart of Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868 to schedule your next medical appointment. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That festive music means it's time for the three Amigos. The Amigo number one is Ken Weaver, who's he's dancing around with his air trumpet in the newsroom now. It's quite the sight. I wish you could see it. And with God as my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. you are sort of our version of Les Nessman.
Oh, the humanity! WKRP.
Oh, I know. Gosh, what happened to good sitcoms? 30-minute sitcoms like that. I mean, it's just they don't have them anymore. They're and not like that. I mean, WKRP and all of those great sitcoms of that era, and they're just something that's not done much anymore.
Unfortunately.
And then when you see them, they're not really all that good.
Right.
The ones that are out there. I don't know. It's an art form that seems to have lost. Anyway, Ken Weaver there in the newsroom. Chris Weber's is Amigo number 2, and I am Amigo number 3. Together we make up the three Amigos, and our job here is to just, find some kind of weird thing to talk about and talk about it. And you never know where the conversation will go, what direction it might go, and sometimes we just get lost. But that's okay, because it's usually entertaining.
It's usually fun. Yeah.
More entertaining than the setup of this segment, that's for sure. All right, you guys go first.
Well, I've got something for you,
okay,
boys.
All right, I'm ready.
Owners of a cemetery in the UK are getting blasted for offering paid VIP passes to relatives of those buried on the grounds. The Garden of Remembrance, located in the UK town of Stoke-on-Trent, says those who don't purchase a pass are only going to be able to enter the cemetery during office hours, which are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. After that, if you don't have a pass, too bad. You're not getting in there to visit the graves of your dearly departed. A third note claims now the cost is $12 per pass for access to the Rose Garden, and then an extra $6 if you want to visit a grave. What? It's unclear whether it's a one-off fee or whether pass holders will be charged that amount each time they enter. So the families who have their loved ones buried there, they're mad.
Well, rightly so, I think.
They're very angry.
Absolutely. They thought they're charged to see your loved ones?
Yeah, I didn't know that I don't know if you can do that here in America, but in the UK, apparently you can, at least for now. The cemetery owner, Jason Taft, is hitting back at all these families saying, look, I paid $10,000 on security and tech upgrades to keep the cemetery safe. So he's basically claiming that apparently you're unsafe if you visit your loved one's sites outside of office hours.
Wow.
So that's how he's trying to justify this, what turns out to be like an $18 fee just to get inside to visit not only the gravesite, but the Rose Garden, too.
So I'm assuming they have gates to keep people out?
Yeah, they have electric gates. And so you'll have to pay this fee in order to get one of these cards. But what's not known is whether or not you have to pay the fee every time.
I would hope not.
Yeah,
sure.
Like I wonder if there's a bucket outside that you have to put your pass in.
Yeah, around the honor system, or something like that.
As you leave. But yeah, it's got there are 1,300 graves there. So just imagine how many people are upset about this.
I would be apoplectic.
You know,
I'd be mad.
It's one of those things where I can understand what he's trying to do. Well, maybe not, but as far as the securing making the cemetery a safer place.
Right.
But he's going about it all wrong,
yes,
in my opinion. If you want to do that, you could have like a sign-up sheet to say, okay, this is who I come to visit in this cemetery, and then you give those people passes and allow them to access the cemetery when they want to. You don't charge them
right.
a pass. That's kind of ridiculous.
It sounds like he's getting extra money.
Yeah, unless he's trying to cover the cost of the upgrades he made for security and the gates or whatever it may be, he could ask for people. I'm sure people that have loved ones in that cemetery wouldn't mind helping to pay for, a safer cemetery experience, but
sure,
not a pass. Come on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Now he did hand out 90 free passes before he started this.
Well,
I wonder if it was a lottery.
That's just nuts.
But still,
yeah,
I don't know, man. They do different. They do things differently in the UK. I guess it's not every cemetery. I guess there are some private cemeteries, but I thought that they were mostly taxpayer funded.
No, I don't guess a private cemetery would be. I don't know how that works, but I guarantee you, to pay to go to see my grandfather's grave, that would be the end of it. Yeah, get out of my way. That electric gate is coming down.
The big burgundy beast will enter.
That's right. You ain't gonna stop me. All right. Yeah, they might damage the pickup truck, but it'd be worth it.
Yes, sir.
Teach him a lesson.
What do you got, Chris?
Well, I had to try to sniff out a good story for today's Three Amigos. So I found this one out from Down Under. A study of gut health in 2021.
Oh, why do you have a thing about this kind of stuff?
Discovered that 60% of Australians reported excessive flatulence, with up to 43% experiencing that most days.
So you're saying the Aussies are gassy? Is that what you're saying?
They tend to be a gassy people. So, with that said, whether they're silent but deadly or loud and proud, the CSIRO, that's the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, that's a Australian government agency down under. They want you to...
There's an agency in Australia that studies farts.
Yeah. Well, among other things, yeah. They want you to keep track of how and when you pass wind. Australia's National Science Agency says charting your farts can help scientists learn more about one of the leading gut health symptoms experienced by people in Australia. You use an app called, you guessed it, Chart Your Fart. The CSIRO is asking Aussies over 14 years of age to keep a log of their flatulence for at least 3 days. Users can track the frequency of their flatulence and qualities like smell, loudness, duration, linger, and detectability.
Linger.
This is real stuff. Citizen scientists will help profile what a, quote, normal fart may be amongst different age groups in the population. They say that while some can find farting embarrassing, it's perfectly healthy. Passing wind is a natural occurrence and a sign that our digestive system is working as it should to expel excess gas that is produced from breaking down and processing the food we eat, says research dietitian Megan Rebely. She also says talking about diet often leads into discussion about the other end of eating. Different foods, medical conditions, or even the way we chew or swallow can have an impact on how our body processes the excess gas, leading to the different smells, frequency, or even volume. Say that research is only as good as the data we have, and we want as much of it as possible to work with in our diverse Australian community so we can drive innovation in health and well-being while also having a bit of fun.
You know what? All I can think about is that bean burrito I had for lunch.
I'm telling you. Have you guys seen the images of this? There's one image that says, "You let one rip, 12:53 p.m., 13 November, 2024. And then below it, there's a sliding scale of stench.
Oh,
my goodness.
Oh, those wacky Australians.
Yeah.
There's one for loudness, duration, just like Chris
sounds
said.
like something that our government would do, but they're glad to know we're not alone for the waste of taxpayer dollars.
Oh my gosh!
When I first read the thing that says qualities like smell, loudness, duration, linger, and detectability, I thought it said delectability, and I thought, wait a minute now, what is going on?
Anyway. Detectability. Yes. I got that. All right. I got a story. I just think it's interesting. This is out of London, Associated Press. A guy by the name of John Alfred Tinniswood, Tinnis Wood, held the title of world's oldest man for 9 months. He marking his 112th birthday during his reign. Wow. It constantly changes. They try to figure out who's the oldest person in the world. He was for 9 months the oldest person in the world. He said his longevity was pure luck. You either live long or you live short, and you can't do much about it. The retired accountant and great-grandfather told the Guinness World Book of Records when he earned the title in April. He said he never smoked, rarely drank, followed no special diet apart from having fish and chips every Friday. If you drink too much or eat too much or you walk too much, if you do too much of anything, you're going to suffer eventually. But he was born a few months after the sinking of the Titanic. He basically came onto the scene 5 years after, for example, Kitty Hawk. Wow. Think about that.
Yeah.
He came onto the scene 5 years after the first flight at Kitty Hawk.
Wow.
And think of the things this guy has witnessed.
Yes.
Absolutely. 2 world wars. Yep. And, of course, he was in England during the time. His wife died in 1986.
Oh, man.
And they were married some 44 years at that point.
Wow.
He's lived a whole lifetime after the death of his wife.
That's right. He certainly has. But I mean, I think about that. I've always thought it's fascinating that people who were born in the early, part of this century, they saw, Kitty Hawk was in 1907, I think it was. And this was in 1912. So 5 years later, he's born. He witnessed the advent of the airplane, the advent of jet airlines, and then rocket ships. He saw the landing on the moon. I mean, he went from Kitty Hawk basically, where they were flying. It was a successful flight if they flew 100 yards.
Yep. Yeah.
From that time period to seeing a man on the moon.
Wow.
And now he's watching. Well, he was until recently watching all the things that are going on with the SpaceX thing and all the rockets that they're sending up now. What I mean, just the things that you have witnessed in a lifetime like that.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt. That's an impressive life lived.
He was in his 50s in the 60s.
That's right.
I mean, he was old in the 60s.
Yeah, I know. I mean, really think about it. I mean, but apparently now they got to go around and find who the next oldest person is. And it takes a while for them to figure out. They have to go around and then double check the birth certificates and all that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
But the oldest living woman and oldest living person ever was 116 years old, and a woman who lived in Japan.
116.
Tomiko Aituka.
That's a long time.
116 years. Yeah, I wonder how many of them were good years. That's the thing.
That's the key.
I know, but there's some people, it's all about the genes, I suppose.
Yep.
50 minutes now past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Biden says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a U.S. brokered 60-day ceasefire to end the war between Israel and Hezbollah. The Lebanese army and security forces will deploy in southern Lebanon over the next 60 days, take control of the territory controlled by Hezbollah. At the same time, Biden says Israel will withdraw its forces over the next 60 days in order for civilians to return to the homes on both sides of the border. In a Rose Garden speech today, Biden also called for an end to the fighting in Gaza.
So now Hamas has a choice to make. Their only way out is to release the hostages, including American citizens, which they hold.
An appeals court has agreed to end President-elect Donald Trump's classified documents case. It officially ends this battle to charge Trump over retaining records with classified markings after leaving office, as special counsel Jack Smith had requested. Smith had been fighting a ruling from Judge Eileen Cannon that tossed the case, determining that the special counsel was unlawfully appointed. But today's ruling by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals officially ends it for Trump, however, not for co-defendants. President-elect Trump's pick for border czar visited Eagle Pass, Texas today to thank those stationed along the border. Tom Homan told National Guard members planning is underway for heightened enforcement along the border after President-elect Trump is sworn in, and he said,
"Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border."
And to those who push back against the effort, he said the U.S. is a nation of laws, and laws will be enforced.
It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say they're beefing up patrols to deter criminals and fatal crashes during the holiday shopping season. It'll mean more police officers on the ground and in the air, cops on horseback at Opry Mills, cops on bikes at Tanger Outlet. There'll be cops on helicopters who radio below if they see anything suspicious. And the world's oldest man has passed away, as we hear from Chuck Severson.
John Tenniswood attributed his longevity to pure luck. When interviewed in April by Guinness World Records, he was 112. Died in a care home in northwest England near Liverpool, says his family, a great-grandfather. Tenniswood cited moderation.
You should always try and keep on moving about.
In civilian life, an accountant, he handled financial matters while serving in the British Army Pay Corps in World War II. On his birthday in August, Tenniswood said he didn't feel 112.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, in addition to the usual slowdowns, we do have some crashes to contend with. Right now, Briley Parkway southbound, right there at I-40 near the airport. Then in Donaldson, we're seeing the Briley Parkway southbound off-ramp to Elm Hill Pike. It is partially blocked by a crash. Got 40 eastbound at Fessler's Lane. 40 eastbound in Wilson County, right there at Lebanon. Murfreesboro Road, that's exit 238. 3 cars involved there. And then 65 northbound after Old Hickory Boulevard, exit 92. And, of course, holiday travel underway, I should say. And we've got the ramp traffic slowing down significantly, 40 eastbound to International Airport for pickups and drop-offs. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, good evening, everyone. 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair for one more hour as we bring you news and information, all kinds of stuff going on. And let me just say again, if you were listening at this time yesterday, you know, we were doing our radiothon, and you may have wondered, hey, you know, how'd y'all do? Well, you crushed it. That's all I can say is you folks crushed it. You know, I think our previous record was somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000. We raised $288,433 yesterday. Well, I say we were the conduit. You raised it. You did it. People really came through for us in a huge way, and I just want to say thank you so much, and especially a thank you to those people who said, well, I'm making this donation in honor of your retirement and your long career in broadcasting. There were many ways that it was put, but I want to say thank you. That meant a lot to me personally. Again, our audience is the best audience that you could ever hope for, and that we raised $288,000 and change. And you know how many meals that actually breaks down to? 101,204 meals. We have never before been able to raise 100,000 meals. So again, the largesse, the genuine generosity of our audience, and support for this really, really, really good charity, this ministry that really helps people who are down on their luck and tries to turn around their luck and put them on a better pathway so that they can become productive citizens of society, not government supported, all through private donations. And you just really came through. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Now, after all of that, I love this sound so much. I love this little clip of sound so much. You see, the left is losing its mind right now. They can't believe they got beaten by Trump. They're shocked, stunned, and amazed that how could this happen? How could he beat us? He beat us because the American people didn't like what you were bringing to the table, and they're just having a hard time swallowing all of that. And there's a lot of finger pointing and recriminations about what went wrong and who was responsible for it. James Carville has been, he's been like one of the most critical of what the Harris campaign was doing. And I'm telling you, he thinks, among other things, that the campaign made a big mistake by not going on Joe Rogan. Trump went on Joe Rogan. Trump got like 100 million views of the Joe Rogan show, and it helped. 3 hours he was on, and apparently there was a divergent opinions within the Harris campaign that Kamala should not do this, especially among some of the younger staffers on the campaign who said, no, you just can't do this. Carville says, what? Why are you listening to those idiots? And, well, he puts it a little more, well, Carvillish. He's very Carvillish in this soundbite. You ready? Hold on to your hats.
Vice President was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. Supposedly the campaign said that wasn't the term de facto, but they did. When you put a campaign together and you hire young people to do work, let me tell you exactly what you tell these people, what I would tell them. Not only am I not interested in your opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a shit what you think. And let me tell you another huge error this made, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't. Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not.
Oh, come on, James. Tell us what you really think. I mean, don't hold back. I love Carville. I know he's on the other side, but I mean, he's a no-nonsense political operator, and he's always entertaining. Can I tell you a quick Carville story? I forget which political. It was a Republican convention, and I was in San Diego. I was working for Fox 5 in Washington at the time before I went to the Fox News Channel. And so I get sent out. Well, here's the thing. I was a morning anchor. And so morning in California was like 3 a.m. So we went on the air at 5 a.m. in Washington. So I was getting up at like, 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning and doing radio, doing television in the hall, when there was nobody there with stuff that I'd collected the night before and stuff. I was running on no sleep. I was completely exhausted, but we were getting up at like 1 o'clock in the morning so that we could be on the air on the East Coast during the morning show. It's a Republican convention, San Diego, California. I'm on the floor. I'm doing my shtick, and I'm doing my little hits, and we're doing everything we need to do to fill out that show. And I look up, and coming across the floor of the convention at like what was probably 2:30 in the morning was James Carville. He was at a Republican convention, and he was just I guess he had credentials, and he had free run of the place. And I said, James Carville, what are you doing here? And you know what? He sat down with us, did an interview. We did it live back to Washington, and he was fantastic. But I mean, that's one of my favorite stories. James Carville, 2:30 in the morning in California, which was add 3 hours to that. It would have been 5:30 on the East Coast. And he stopped, sat down in the chair. We mic'd him up. We did an interview. It was great. It was fantastic. But, I like him on a personal level. I don't agree with his politics. But you know what? Sometimes when you hear him talk, you just say, there's a guy, got a brain cell or two working. Well, he had a pretty successful career as a political consultant. But he is not at all impressed with Kamala Harris, the campaign that she ran, or the young, as she said, the young snot-nosed people who were running that campaign, whose opinion he didn't think mattered for very much. Love that clip. That is priceless, Carville. Kamala Harris is already thinking about her next run. This from theblaze.com. Fresh off a devastating loss for the Democrat Party that cost more than $1 billion, Vice President Kamala Harris is ready to hop back on the horse, according to a report from Politico. The report says that Harris has told her aides and allies to keep their options open as she considers either running for president again or running for governor of California. Well, first of all, they deserve her. Let the Californians have her. If she wants to run again for president, I promise you it will not end well. She's never won. I mean, she couldn't win a primary. They had to give her the nomination because she couldn't run in the primary and win. The natural thing to do would be to set up some type of entity that would give her the opportunity to travel and give speeches and preserve her political relationships. Well, I don't think James Carville will be coming to any of those events. Harris presided over the Democrats' loss to the Oval Office and the U.S. Senate and retention of the House by Republicans. Democrats have been attacking each other to place blame for their failures and also to jockey for position in the party going forward. The report says Harris has repeated a new mantra in numerous phone calls saying, "I am staying in the fight." Okay. Harris plans to reassert her leadership in the party and become a prominent voice for the opposition in Trump's second term. You know what? Knock yourself out. I don't think people care as much as you think they're going to care. She doesn't have to decide if she wants to run for something again in the next 6 months, said a former Harris aide to Politico. The natural thing would give her an entity, give her some time to travel. She loves to travel and spend money. Wow. She doesn't have to decide she wants to run for something. Brian Brokaw, a former Harris aide, told Politico she hasn't likely made a decision and usually takes a long time to consider her options. She's not someone who makes a rash decision. She takes sometimes a painfully long time to make decisions, so I would pretty much guarantee she has no idea what her next move is. This is somebody who apparently even likes her. Some Democrats have blamed President Joe Biden for staying in the campaign too long and not giving Harris a chance to solidify the party behind her. It wouldn't have made a bit of difference. Others blamed the Harris campaign for spending on lavish parties with celebrities. And finally, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called on people to blame a Jewish political group for all of this. Look, she didn't run a good campaign. The same was said about Hillary Clinton. She didn't run a very good campaign. And she made strategic errors. She spent a boatload of money. I mean, a lot of money. $2 billion, something like that, $2.5 billion on a campaign, and you got trounced. She ran a campaign that is yesterday's kind of campaign. She didn't make accommodations for the different ways that people now get their information and how they form their opinions. She just clearly, she just honestly didn't have a clue, and neither did the people around her. Meanwhile, Biden is exiting with the lowest approval rating he has had since he's been president. A new Emerson College survey released today shows just a third of America, it's about 36%, approve of the Democrat, 52% disapprove. The poll analysis called Biden's rating a 4-year low for the president in Emerson polls. President-elect Donald Trump, meanwhile, returning to the White House with one of the highest approval ratings ever, 54%. That is 6 points higher than his pre-election approval. Think about this for a moment. Since he has won, his approval rating has gone up 6%. I mean, look, sometimes these approval ratings don't move very far. It's unusual to see a movement of 1 or 2 points. His went up 6. It's not just MAGA. Approval of Trump is spread across a wide spectrum of the country, just like his election support. I don't know. He won the popular vote, and the Democrats said, well, not by all that much. He trounced her in the Electoral College, which really is what matters. And they're saying, well, you can't say it's a mandate. It was a mandate. Have you seen the map? Have you seen how much of the map was red and how little of the map was blue? That tells you everything you need to know. 21 past the hour now.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
"25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Good news for Trump. Jack Smith has completely folded up shop. I mean, yesterday, while we were doing the radiothon, you heard it on the news, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it. He did away with the one of the federal cases, and that federal case may have cost the taxpayers some $50 million. Financial disclosures from the special counsel's office show that from mid-November of 2022, when Smith was appointed counsel until March 31 of 23, it was $9.25 million. That was followed by $14.6 million, followed by another $11.84 million. Those costs include direct and indirect expenses. Expenditures have not even come in for the last bit of it, so it'd probably be more than that. But the average of the last 3 reported periods is roughly $12 million, so it probably will be somewhere around $62 million that they spent on a case that they had to fold up and do away with. So there you go. This all started back in November of 2022. Appointed this guy, Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, who did it, to oversee the federal investigation of Trump's alleged interference in the 2020 election. After an exhaustive, nearly 2-year investigation, he filed motions yesterday to dismiss the case on election interference, and it was accepted by the judge, agreed to drop the charges. And then the question is, well, what happens in the classified documents case, which, by the way, should never have been brought. If you're gonna let Biden walk on it, then there should never have been a case brought against Trump. Good for the goose, good for the gander. Well, today, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals granted a request from special counsel Jack Smith to drop President-elect Trump's Florida documents case, ending the battle to charge him over retaining records with classified markings after leaving office. The order fulfills a request from Smith to end an appeal in the case as it relates to Trump, though the case will continue for his 2 co-defendants in the matter. The move comes after Smith similarly moved to dismiss without prejudice Trump's election interference case, as I told you. That happened yesterday. So the 2 things that Jack Smith was handling with regard to Donald Trump are gone. They should never have been brought in the first place. They were absolute, cases. They really were. And really, this I almost want to do the trifecta on it, because the whole thing really is. And to bring this kind of charge against the president is nothing more than a action on behalf of Jack Smith. So they're done. But how many millions of dollars were spent in this process? $62 million is probably where it's going to end up. $62 million to run these investigations that never should have been brought in the first place. And this is the thing that is really outrageous. I hope that we're better than the Democrats were. I mean, it would be very easy to be vindictive and angry and say we're going to give them a dose of what they gave us. But what they gave us was wrong. Using the Department of Justice as a legal weapon against your political opponents. That's done in third world countries, not in the United States of America. So I don't know. There's a lot of things. How much did he? And let's just talk about this. How much did Trump have to spend to defend himself? I mean, there's that whole part of it too. I mean, sure, he's a rich guy, but I'm certain that his legal fees are way into the millions, million after million. I mean, if they're spending $62 million to get you, how much do you have to pay to defend yourself against such BS charges? It is outrageous that this ever went this far. But at least now, I think the only thing is that Judge Merchan thing. And I don't know, I was listening to Mark Levin last night, who's a better legal analyst than I am. And he said he thought that probably would be dropped next week. I don't trust Merchan. I think they're up to something, and I don't know what it is, but it would be stupid of them to try to pull a stunt now. It really would be dumb, because Americans are done with that kind of stuff. Americans want us to move forward, not keep looking backwards in this particular case. And these cases, again, the case with Merchan in New York and all of that, never should have been brought. And it is an injustice. If I were Trump, I would sue the federal government to get my money back, except, I think he's better than that. I don't think he will. Gosh, it's just totally unfair. But at least now we know Jack Smith's cases will not go forward. 30 minutes now past the hour. Time for the news. What was it like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Was it stinky? Was it smelly? Greasy old rags lying around, a dirty cabinet, the countertop. You didn't even want to touch that thing. I'll tell you something else that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever. They're not honest and they don't call you back when they say they will. If that was your last experience at a vehicle repair shop, listen, I want you to think about going to Eurofix. Eurofix takes the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a 15-minute free, no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment and never pay dealer prices. Eurofix is now in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet. Just call this number, 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
It is 38 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. We're going to be here for another 22 minutes, and we'll hand it over to Mark Levin, the great one who I usually, when I'm done with my show, I generally run back over and have dinner with the missus. But yesterday I was downtown, so I drove back home listening to Mark Levin. And, I'm telling you, he was on fire. And he's absolutely right about one thing. That, if we have sanctuary cities or sanctuary states in this country, then there's a great way to solve that problem. If you're going to violate federal law and become a saint, and you're going to protect people who are in this country illegally, if that's your plan, you'll be violating the law, and the people who are violating the law may well go to jail. But here's the other thing you can do. If you violate federal guidelines and federal law in this regard, well, just cut off your federal funding. See how long you like that, huh? See how that goes. Cut off the funding and see how it goes. And it sounds like that the folks who are who are handling the border situation for Donald Trump, absolutely prepared to make that recommendation, and I think Trump will follow that recommendation. I think he'll shut them down. I'm telling you, there's a lot good to be said about this guy, Tom Homan. Now, Tom Homan is the border czar. It's not a position that requires Senate confirmation because he's a czar. Basically, he's an advisor to the president. He's the president's point man, and a czar goes out and does it, but he speaks with the authority of the president. And so, you come up with policies within the administration, and then he goes out there and makes sure that these things are being carried out. And so today he was down in Texas. He doesn't take office until Trump is sworn in, but he's already out there looking at the situation. He's an experienced hand in this regard. He came up through the Border Patrol and has actually worn the uniform at times. And so he knows the drill, and he knows how to make it right. He knows how to fix what is broken down there. And he was saying thank you to the Texas Department of Public Safety, we all owe them a thank you. Because the Texas Department of Public Safety was doing the things at the expense of Texas taxpayers that the federal government should have been doing. But they weren't doing it, so Texas had to stand up. We owe them a debt of gratitude for doing that. And he was there to say thank you to troopers and the National Guard people who went down there and protected the Texas border.
So the first morning I woke up with a smile on my face was the day after the election when President Trump won. Because he's going to come back, he's going to finish the job he started. Governor Abbott has done an amazing job. Illegal immigration in Texas is down 86%. 86%. Think about that. This is a model we can take across the country. We're going to help Governor Abbott finish the job he started, but this is a model we can take across the country. Unprecedented success in Texas. It's a shame the taxpayers of Texas have to spend billions of dollars to do the job that this administration failed to do, didn't want to do. It's just not about illegal immigration anymore. When this administration calls a crisis the biggest they caused, it overwhelms the Border Patrol. And because the Border Patrol is so overwhelmed taking care of this humanitarian crisis, many of them are pulled off the line. And what happens then? 600% increase in sex trafficking. Fentanyl coming across the border to kill 250,000 Americans. Record number of people on the terrorist watch list crossing the border. Over 2 million known gotaways. How many of them come from a country sponsoring terror? How many of them are carrying fentanyl? How many of them are sex trafficking women and children? How many of them are gang members? So it's more than just illegal immigration. I don't care what your opinion is on illegal immigration. When you cause a crisis this big, all these terrible things happen. Cartels are making more money today than ever did. They're making a record amount of money smuggling aliens, record amount of money trafficking in women and children, and a record amount of money moving the dope. For every ounce of fentanyl your trooper sees are less overdose deaths. For every person you arrest for trespassing and put them through a fingerprinting process, that's one less gotaway. So at least we know who these people are. What you've done is not only protect the state of Texas and the citizens of Texas, you are protecting this nation. It's a shame we have other governors and other mayors who are right out of the gate. I said they're going to push back on President Trump and what we're trying to do, especially for interior enforcement. Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border where anybody can look at 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at the border will end up with an order removal. So you can't ask for the right to claim asylum, the right to see a judge, the right to due process, and we give you that due process, and at the end of that due process, a federal judge orders you removed, we have to remove them. Because if we don't, shut down the immigration court. Those orders don't mean anything anymore. Take you guys off the border because there's no consequences. So you can't demand due process and the right to claim asylum and not obey the court order. That is why there needs to be a mass deportation. We have a mass number of people, millions of people who will get a final order and be order removed. If we don't do it, what is the option? Let them stay? Because if you let them stay, you'll never fix the border. You're going to send a message to the rest of the world. Enter the country legally, which is a crime. That we're a nation of laws, and we're going to enforce the laws. The men and women of ICE, they're going to have a tough job ahead of them. And I'm sending a message for people that said they're going to get in our way. They're going to stop us from doing what we're doing on an interior enforcement operation. I've said 100 times in the last week, don't cross that line. It is a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us. The nation wants a safe country. We've had enough crime in this country, illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it. President Trump's committed to it. He's committed to securing this border. He's committed to having this mass deportation operation and concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. For any mayor or governor who's going to push back on removing public safety threats from your community, that is your number one responsibility. You ought to be teaming up with us. We have created the biggest national security vulnerability in this nation on the southern border. Because like I said, 2 million known gotaways, we don't know how many unknown gotaways, already a record number of people on the terrorist watch list. If you don't think a single one of the 2 million came from a country sponsoring terror and didn't come to do us harm, then you're an idiot. Everybody ought to be on the same page. Republican, Democrat, Independent. This is a huge national security vulnerability, and everybody ought to be concerned with it. Game on. Time to get this done. Game on.
Game on, he says, and to applause from the people who've been down there doing the good work in the state of Texas. I mean, Texas got a reduction in the number of people coming across illegally because of the State Patrol, the National Guard down there doing the work at the behest of the governor and the state of Texas. And so they moved on to New Mexico, to Arizona, and mostly to California. But if those states want to do, the sanctuary city, they want to be sanctuary states, that's all right. That's all right. But just understand that you're probably going to lose your federal funding. Yeah. See how you feel about that. As Rand Paul says, look, he's for example, he's really upset about this mayor from Denver who says we're going to be a sanctuary city. And if I have to go to jail, then so be it. You know what Tom Homan said? Well, we agree on one thing. If you want to go to jail, we'll put you in jail for that because it'll be a violation of the law. And Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky said that the mayor of Denver is way out of line.
That the mayor of Denver, if he's going to resist federal law, which there's a long-standing history of the supremacy of federal law, if he's going to resist that, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I would suspect that he would be removed from office. I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history and really, I think, will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law.
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats love to toss around that word insurrection. Well, that's essentially what you'd be doing. And I think Rand Paul and the Trump administration are be correct in going after those people who stand in the way of taking people who are in this country illegally and deporting them. I mean, it's going to take a while to undo the damage, but at least, they're willing. I mean, I get the impression that Tom Homan's champing at the bit, man. He can't wait for January 20th. And we're going to start. I mean, boy, they're going to be ready to go. And if you don't believe, just get out of his guy's way because he's going to make it happen. So there is that. Listen, there's one other story here. Very tragic. There's been the story that it's some unaccompanied minors, I mean, in some cases, basically toddlers, are showing up at the border unaccompanied. And this is interesting, I thought. Chairman of the House Homeland Security Subcommittee on Border Security Enforcement, Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana, raising concerns regarding the condition of some unaccompanied children arriving at the U.S. southern border. During a Tuesday hearing, Higgins stated that some children appear to be drugged, which hinders law enforcement's ability to question them about their travel companions. The subcommittee hearing focused on the issue of thousands of migrant children reportedly going missing during the Biden-Harris government. Key witnesses included Tara Rodas, a whistleblower from HHS, Kathy Laren of the U.S. Government Accountability Office, GAO, retired Deputy Patrol Agent J.J. Carroll, and human trafficking consultant Alicia Hopper. Higgins highlighted the troubling situation in his opening remarks, questioning why so many children arrive at the border in a state of fear and without accompanying family members. He noted instances where children are accompanied by individuals claiming to be relatives yet lacking any apparent familial ties. He pointed out that some children have phone numbers and addresses written on their arms, suggesting they are being directed to specific unknown locations, which he likened to arriving at someone's warehouse or doorstep. And in August, the Department of Homeland Security's Office of the Inspector General released a report revealing agency may have lost upwards to well, roughly 300,000 unaccompanied minors. According to DHS Inspector General Joseph V. Kufari, his office has identified at least 32,000 instances of unaccompanied children who failed to appear for the immigration court dates, although he believes the true number may be much, much higher. Additionally, the Inspector General reports, based on our audit work and according to ICE officials, unaccompanied minors who do not appear for court are considered at higher risk for trafficking, exploitation, or forced labor. Unaccompanied minor, unaccompanied children at the border. Where are they? This will be one of the great tragedies when we get to the bottom of this story. One of the great tragedies, and Joe Biden is fully responsible for it. Absolutely, for setting up a policy that allowed this to happen. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.